The police action that we've seen, the violence, vandalism that we've seen, that has left people confused. It has divided opinions. And we have a formidable panel, eminent people, who will put this into context. We have Mr. Sanjay Sahai, who is a former IPS officer. Dr. Vikram Singh will be joining us. Avishkar Singhvi will be with us. He's an advocate, practices in the Supreme Court. And Abhinav Singh, another advocate, will be with us. The question very simply is this. On one side, the claim is that this was a peaceful agitation. The police had no business to use brute force. That is the argument on one side. On the other, many in the police and in the BJP are saying, look at the pictures, the police were roughed up, assaulted, and there is no space for violence. Anyone who takes the law in their hands will face the full might of the law. So we have a situation where this blame game is raging by the minute, which is why we thought that let's get people who understand this and speak to them. Avishkar Singhvi, Dr. Vikram Singh, Mr. Sanjay Sahai with us, Abhinav Singh will be joining us. Avishkar, to you first, what do you think went wrong?
Well, Pranesh, firstly, I'd like to say that the demands put forth by Mr. Wangchuk and the protesters were legitimate. I want to put that out there so that my stand is very clear. And I do believe in issues-based politics rather than vote bank politics. And I think today we're in a state of affairs where it's a he said versus she said kind of situation. And I'll tell you why. Without examining the videographic images and without actually looking at the evidence, it's difficult to say who was the aggressor. But after 20-some days of protests, if today the police has to take such measures, I would really need to see that the burden of proof would lie on the state authorities to prove why they took such actions against the protest, which was largely peaceful, where we have seen several videos of protesters sitting, chanting slogans, doing peaceful marches, and sort of, laying their demands. I think that peaceful protest is a fundamental right, as we all know, in a democracy. But that being said, today I think it was a melting point, so to speak, where it led to a situation of escalation. And now we will have to examine whether it was certain group of protesters over there who were responsible, or whether it was a concerted effort, or whether it was a police who used excessive force. But I don't like to come to findings without looking at evidence and facts on record, because I'm not, I'm trained that way. So I just would leave it at that. Okay. But I do think that the burden of proof should lie on the state authorities to justify.
But there are many things on camera, Avishkar. I don't want to stretch this conversation, and but I'm sure you've seen pictures of policemen in uniform being roughed up. Now, there are many people who will say that, look, they were in plain clothes, they attacked us and we retaliated, etc., etc. But is there any excuse to rough up a policeman in uniform?
Well, see, that also is another issue. Whether certain people in a particular gathering are responsible, then whether the entire gathering should suffer. There are individuals who may resort to such, unwieldy instances. But
so at least you concede that happened, that, people did violate the law. Abhinav Singh, respond to what you've heard from Avishkar, that the police provoked, they should not have used brute force on protesters who were protesting peacefully, as he claims.
I agree with that. Police should not use, but the contention of that police, the protester had thrown the stone on the police officials. Thereafter, they are moving towards the parliament. They are breaking down the barricades. So police is there to present preventive measures, and police is doing that. So what is the harm in it that the protester has to be The action has to be taken against the protesters.
नहीं, पर अभिनव जी, प्रिवेंटिव मेजर मतलब ये थोड़ी होता है कि किसी को सर पे मार दे। लोगों को सर पे भी चोट लगी है। अगर लाठी चार्ज भी होता है तो अब वो जो 2 IPS ऑफिसर्स हैं वो बताएंगे ज्यादा। मेरे समझ से तो वो उसकी भी लिमिट डिफाइंड है कि आप बिलो वेस्ट आपको करना है, क्या है माइल्ड फोर्स एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा, उसमें भी ग्रेडेड रेस्पॉन्स होना चाहिए। सो लेट्स टर्न टू मिस्टर संजय साय। मिस्टर साय, गुड इवनिंग सर, व्हाट इज योर असेसमेंट ऑफ व्हाट हैज हैपेंड?
See, first and foremost, the panelist before me is talking about preventive measures. Actually, absolutely no preventive measures were taken. The preventive measures mean that people who are likely to create violence on the subsequent day, or who are supposedly antisocial elements, or whatever their background verification, they should have been picked up a day in advance. From 18th of July, you have 163 BNSs operating out there, and the government and the police did not find it to be proper to implement that. On the day before the protest happened, which means day before yesterday, and also I think yesterday morning, the police was allowing people to go inside and to get congregated in a manner which will certainly become something which would go out of control. Now, the main issue here is whether it was a concerted, meticulous conspiracy which was being hatched against the police and the government, and it was a premeditated act of violence which opened out there. That does not seem to be the case. Number one, the communication channels between the police, leave aside the government story we are aware of. The communication channels between the police and the protesters, I don't think it was ever established.
Okay.
Most important is on that 18th morning, the way operations happened there, I don't think you pick up a patient or anybody who's on hunger strike in the manner it was done. So the credibility of the police was the fall guy in this whole scheme of things. There's absolutely no denying that fact.
Okay,
so
let's hear Dr. Vikram Singh on this. Dr. Singh, what is your assessment or reading?
Good evening, Pranesh ji and respected gentlemen, co-panelists. I would say that the police displayed exemplary restraint and patience. And I would say they used the minimum force when it was required, because the police is not there to be bashed up. There's something known as anti-riot drill. And also there's the right of private defense by these sections 34 to section 46 of the Bharati Nyaya Sanghita, former IPC sections 94 to section 106, right of private defense, use of minimum force on non-vital parts, using tear gas shells, using water cannons. They did not use rubber bullets or solid bullets. And therefore, the police got bashed up in a manner and brutalized, which is unprecedented in the history of Delhi confrontations. Special police commissioner being injured, joint police commissioner, additional police commissioner, DCPs and ACPs. And if 120 police personnel are injured and their PCRs turned topsy-turvy and they are set on fire, I don't see any reason why the police should put their arms down and do not resort to the basic norms and the basic issue of using minimum force on non-vital parts as per the anti-riot drill, and giving 3 warnings. बलवाइयों तुम्हारा मजमा खिलाफ कानून किया जाता है, भाग जाओ, भाग जाओ, भाग जाओ, वरना तुम्हारे ऊपर water can. And if you want the policemen to be lynched, sorry, the policemen are not there and not paid to be lynched by a violent mob. How on earth can you say this was a peaceful demonstration? You had a truckload of brickbats. You assaulted the police personnel, including women police personnel. You set the police PCRs on fire, and you say it's a peaceful demonstration.
All right, we've heard all sides. The last word on this is yet to be spoken. I hope justice is done wherever it is. Avishtar, we've run out of time completely. I'm sorry. We'll have this conversation in either tomorrow or in the next few days. I'm really sorry. I'll have to take a break. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. The News Hour with Navika Kumar on the other side.